Mongolia sits at the center of Asia. Its past influence spread Mongolian customs and traditions all across Asia. Their customs reached from the Western Asia, where Khan fought the Teutonic Knights of the Third Crusade, to the east, where Mongol armies fought toe to toe with the samurai. In modern day Mongolia, traditions developed during and before the reign of Genghis Khan still thrive. Of all the traditions, one stands out. It is the nomadic lifestyle of the Mongolians. The nomadic lifestyle adopted by the people of the ancient steppes reaches and affects modern culture of Mongolia. In order to better understand the traditions and customs of a foreign country, the first thing to do is to develop an understanding of said country's history. With that, common themes emerge. The brief history established helps shed light on the modern culture. The religion, the sports, the employment, social rules, and etiquette all tie back to history. Mongolia has a rich culture with long lasting traditions and a history that helps define the modern age.
A rich culture of a land between giants. Mongolians started out as nomads in the Asian steppes. They were pastoral, they herded sheep, cows, camels, goats, which contributed to their diet. They lived in circular temporary homes called yurts. The climate is harsh, thus both men and women wore the same clothing, typically animal skins. Baggy trousers, heelless boots, cotton or silk undergarments, long jacket robes, conical hats with ear flaps. Their diets were primarily dairy based. There was a lot of cheese curds. Their popular drink was fermented cow's milk. They drank a lot of milk too, as evidenced by their alcoholic milk. Men typically hunted and women cooked, but roles could be swapped if need be. That is primarily due to the nomadic lifestyle that everybody had to be able to do something, contribute to the tribe as a whole. Children would often prepare the food. Women had more rights in Mongolia than they did in other Asian countries. Again, I would contribute that to the nomadic lifestyle because everybody had to do something. Because often these communities were quite small. I mean, they could range from a couple hundred people to 25, or maybe even a small family. So it was extremely important that everybody knew what to do and how to do it. And case in point, women could inherit and own property, participate in politics and religion. Now, for religion, there is no sacred texts or ceremonies in Mongolia. Their main ideologies revolve around animism, ancestral worship, and shamanism. Storms, mountains, and natural phenomena like rivers, hills, grasslands, the desert itself were thought to possess spirits. Men and women could both be spiritual guides, so they could help communicate with spirits, do divinations, find lost souls, etc., etc., etc. They could they would predict luck or bad luck and try to help people get away from that, which is really interesting. Christianity, Buddhism, and Islam also became popular religions when Genghis Khan began to conquer all of Asia with the Mongol armies. Genghis Khan, was the single most influential individual in all of Mongolia. He united all the nomadic tribes under one banner. He had an idea. His idea was that Mongolia is spread out. They weren't unified, and that if Mongolia was unified, they could conquer all of Asia, and that's exactly what happened. The Mongolian Empire connected Eastern Asia to Western Asia. In fact, there are some amazing stories about their military efforts. For example, in the western coast, the only thing stopping them from conquering Japan was a storm called the Kamikaze, the Holy Storm. The Mongols went to take a boat across the cove, but they ended up getting struck by a kamikaze, this storm, and it stopped them in their tracks and they returned back to mainland. Now, that wasn't the only effect of the Mongol armies. They spread ideas, trade, gunpowder, printing, cuisines, everything, their own customs. They even adopted customs from Japan, like, for example, bowing. The unity brought about by Genghis Khan would be a major theme in modern Mongolia. So on the right, you have the Mongolian Empire at its peak. On the left is the empire that Genghis Khan himself conquered. Now, the culture of modern nomads. Currently, Mongolia is a predominant language. Mongolia is Ural Altaic. Kazakh, Turkish, Finnish, and Korean are all the same language family as Mongolia. Cyrillic is the predominant form of writing. Buddhism is the most popular religion in modern times. Monasteries are being restored, Buddhism and shamanistic roots. It has fewer practitioners than Buddhism. Shamanism has fewer practitioners than Buddhism, but that doesn't stop it from affecting Buddhism itself. Traditional music uses a combination of voice and instrumentals. Kumi, throat singing, is a guttural way of singing. There are two tones sung at once, and a whistle sound with an overlaying bass. It's really unique. Sometimes it is used in combination with the horsehead fiddle, which makes a very fascinating sound. Now, the horsehead fiddle is a two-string instrument. It can produce a variety of tones. Now, the sports that are dominant in Mongolia are archery, wrestling, and horse racing. They're called the three games of men in Mongolia. Their roots come from the hunting styles and warfare style developed by the Mongolian. So, in the Mongolian steppes, their way of hunting is they get a group of people with horses and bows, and they build a line, and they herd their prey into a corner. They'll sweep across fields, herding foxes, wolves, rabbits, anything they can get their hands on, and they'll corner them in a specific spot, and then kill them when they have to. And they use that exact same style and warfare, and it dominated all of Asia because nobody ever saw anything like it. In combination with their extreme archery skill and their horse riding skill, it was just unstoppable. Now, these three sports, archery, wrestling, and horse racing, are also celebrated during Nadam, which starts every year in mid-July. Now, work opportunities in modern day Mongolian are as follows. Their popular industries are construction, oil, mining, and textile. Mining right now is the most profitable because they are selling gold, copper, silver, and coal. Their coal is going into China. They often sell their coal into China. Mining towns have developed around these hotspots. They provide additional income for smaller people, businesses that butt around them, like cafes, food industry, in teaching and health jobs are growing in modern day Mongolia, especially English teaching jobs. Those are becoming very popular. Tourism is now becoming popular too because Mongolia itself is fascinating. The shamanistic roots bring another layer that everybody wants to see. They want to hear the singing, they want to see the colorful clothes and the colorful styles and the individualistic values that shamanism has. Now, work hours and holidays are as follows. Mongolia time is 12 hours ahead of EST, Eastern Standard Time. The standard work week is 40 hours from 9 to 6 a.m., Monday through Friday. Holidays include New Year's, Lunar New Year, International Women's Day, Mother and Child Day, Nadam, National Independence Day. Now, we share New Year's with them in the United States, and that's about it. Everything else is different. Now, on the ground, this is a first-person perspective of a woman who works in Mongolia toting coal in her truck to the edge of the border to sell. With that, here is the following information. Mongolians migrate from rural areas to look for work, partly because of their nomadic roots. They don't mind going that far away. Trucks line the Mongolian-China border towing coal. A truckload is worth $260, which is about $520 a month. 2 truckloads a month. $250 is about the medium amount that an average Mongolian would make. It can take days of waiting, but many think it is worth the pay. Thousands of trucks line the 15 miles of road. The woman in particular says that it is all worth it because she is able to put her children through school and is able to do this. Now, the value of mining in Mongolia is placed between $1 to $3 trillion. The industry has been placed under scrutiny by the locals for destroying the land. The industry only employs 3.6% of Mongolians. It seems to be the most profitable, but the costs and damages remain high. Now, Nadam is a significant national holiday. It is an event that emphasizes unity. It brings Mongolians back to their roots. Now, the three major sports played, as mentioned briefly earlier, are archery, wrestling, and horse racing. Now, if you're a man, woman, or child, you can participate in all of it, it's done for the sake of unity. Archery is done in two steps. There's longbow and short bow. There's wrestling, which is traditionally done by men. The men in wrestling, it is quite unique. What the men who are wrestling do is they will add designs, their own designs to their pieces and make themselves look different. So that's where their individuality shows. So it's a mix of unity and individuality. Horse racing, everybody does that. Man, woman, child. In fact, there are rituals that happen during horse racing. For example, it is customary for the children who win, it is customary for the men to take milk from a sow and pour it on the head and the haunches of the horse. Unity is an important aspect. Individuality is extremely encouraged. People dress up in their own colorful artistic interpretations. Horses are tailored to their owners' designs and likings. Now, of course, there are common themes that emerge, but ultimately, the important part is individuality. In Mongolia, gestures using the fingers and touching others is seen as impolite and immoral. It's similar to the United States. Pointing is considered aggressive, but it's not immoral. And touching is usually reserved in the United States for people who are in close relationships. Mongolians also raise their thumb to indicate good. They also give thumbs up, which is curious. Bowing is also a significant gesture, as mentioned before. It shows a sign of respect. It has been found that 85% of all nonverbal and verbal communication comes from the use of the head in Mongolia. The remaining 50% uses the hands. Tolgoi is the Mongolian word for head. There are 23 instances that were found that use the word Tolgoi as a suffix or prefix. Most of them indicate negative emotion. It is also worth noting that most of the popular mines in Mongolia have the word Tolgoi in them, head. Here are my sources. If anybody wishes to look more into Mongolian culture and learn more about them, you can visit these websites. There are some videos that show shamanism, some videos that show music, whatever takes your liking.